Dadi Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dadi Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamanatira Vanachadi Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Astatara Satyasri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Ram Nomi Mahamahotsava Ki Gaur Premanandi. May you have a wonderful Ram Nomi experience today, all of you, the online devotees. And for the sake of the online devotees, you can't see the room configuration here, but I heard that there's some concern. So this is a little announcement. There's a total of 6 of us in the room, and 6 feet, 8 feet, 12 feet distancing between us. No worries, please. And thank you. Now this morning, we'll be discussing the final verse of Hanuman's prayers to Lord Ram, found in Canto 5, Chapter 19. And this is text number 8. So thus far we've covered the first 7. And text number 8, 7 and 8, according to Jiva Goswami, they're a further elaboration on text 6. And the theme of all 3, according to Jiva Goswami's writings, in Priti Sandarbha is this very wonderful quality of Lord Ram that's even further manifested by Krishna, and that is his Bhakta Vatsala quality and the mystery of all of that. The mystery of, while he does something, particularly with his devotees, it may look like, what? Why did he do that? And then people get bewildered. Those that don't have spiritual guidance and those that have material values, but material values, they go, what? And so Hanuman, the intimate associate of the personality of Godhead, who is highly learned, is revealing truths about Lord Ramachandra that worldly people won't understand. When hearing Ramayana and the pastimes of Ram, they go, what? Why did he do this? Like there's some fault in Ramachandra, that he did this or he did that. So the theme of these last 3 verses is Hanuman revealing in different ways this feature of Lord Ramachandra. He doesn't favor those that have material asset or the fruits of piety, which are, all of them, nor does he exclude somebody that's impious. And they, in their life form or their character or their something, shows impious. So, for example, in the evening discussion, we spent some time discussing Shur Panaka, and she was, mega impious. But in the course of our discussion about her, while he checked her behavior because she was going to pounce on Sita and devour her right in front of Ram, she was reprimanded in an appropriate way that stopped her. First was his voice, booming voice that stopped her, and then Lakshmana did the rest. So, at the same time, for all of her impiety, and more than impiety, demoniac, Rakshasi, offensive to Sita nature, her declaration, I'll eat both of them, and then you and I can enjoy together. So, the other one being Lakshman. So, bad person. But the good side, he accepted. So we heard, according to 2 scriptural references, she underwent severe austerities during the battle in Lanka for 1,000 years to please Lord Shiva, who appeared before her. She asked for a benediction to become the wife of Ram. And the response was, that's not possible. But in the next yuga, towards the end of next yuga, that can be fulfilled in Lord Ram's next appearance, or vice versa. Ram is one of the forms of Krishna. So she became Kubja. So the point is, with other references besides her, Ram is not attracted or repulsed by piety or impiety. And Ram is attracted by bhakti. And he reciprocates with bhakti in kind. So one who gives themselves completely to the personality of Godhead, he gives himself completely to them. And then the Leelas are mysterious because it may look like otherwise. He, sending Lakshman away and sending Sita away, etc. looks like, how's that love? How's that reciprocating their love? And they're accepting him as their exclusive shelter. But Leela-wise or Prema-wise, it's an heightening of that love and a very special reciprocation due to that love, although it doesn't look like it. So, and then yesterday we heard Hanuman saying, using the term us, that is, we don't have, what's our birth, what's our qualification? We don't have qualifications like Ram and Lakshman have, but he's accepted us not only as servants, but as friends. That's his nature. There's no one that is outside of that realm of acceptance. Yesterday evening we heard Ram's declaration about Jatayu. So it's part of the Leela, but we can take it as a statement of the personality of God. It's not just Leela, that outside of the human form of life, there are entities that have exclusive devotion. Now, it's unusual, to be sure. And my mind is going to 3 stories where one of them I had direct experience of a dog in Vrindavan being very devoted to the Vaishnavas. I'll tell the story. While teaching at VIHE, Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education, it was a practice of the devotees who were not just teachers, but the devotees in Vrindavan. On Ekadasi morning, right after Mangal Arati, there was this circumambulation of the inner trail around Vrindavan town. And I experienced it in 2 years in a row. Every Ekadasi morning, not other than Ekadasi morning, but every Ekadasi morning, there was a dog sitting at the gate, waiting for the devotees to come out and go around the Parikrama path. And he was leading the charge and would circumambulate the entire Vrindavan Parikrama path. And when we reached the gate, he would pay his obeisances and go his own way. And there was a place on the Parikrama path that there was a pack of dogs somewhere off to the right, because we were circumambulating to the right, so some abandoned ruins of something, a building or a temple or whatever it was. And the dogs are territorial, so they saw this group of pilgrims coming around early in the morning before the sun came up. And they came out and did what dogs do. Get away, woof, woof, woof. So this particular dog knew the place, so he was out ahead of the group of devotees, and he did what protective dogs will do. He protected the devotees from these pack dogs or stray dogs. Woof, woof, woof back, and showed his teeth and bristled the hair on the back of his neck, and until we passed, and then he stopped barking and continued to join us. He was like an envoy protecting the devotees from the street dogs. It happened 4 times, 2 years in a row. I don't know what happened after that. And how did that happen? Well, from Scripture, that if one makes an offense in the Holy Dham, one may take birth in a lower species. And at the end of that birth in the lower species, they go back to Godhead, leaving their body in the Holy Dham. So, at least that's what is said, what happens when one makes an offense. And so at least, here's one, there's other examples, but a spirit soul in a lower species evidencing bhakti and Vaishnava Seva. I mean, we didn't hear him chant or anything, but he really regulated. How did he know it was Ekadasi? I don't know how he knew it was Ekadasi, but he wasn't there on other mornings, but he was there every Ekadasi. Like, somehow. So, back to the text 8. Translation. Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or a creature other than man, such as a beast or bird, everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerities or penances to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotee. Thus he is satisfied, and as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Sri Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead. Parentheses, Vaikuntha. And Prabhupada's purport. Lord Sri Ramachandra is so kind and merciful to his devotees that he is very easily satisfied by a little service rendered by anyone, human or not. This is the special advantage of worshipping Lord Ramachandra, and there is the same advantage in worshipping Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Krishna and Lord Ramachandra, in the manner of Kshatriyas, sometimes showed their mercy by killing asuras. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awarded love of God without difficulty even to the asuras. All the incarnations of the Supreme Personality Godhead, but especially Lord Ramachandra, Lord Krishna, and later Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, delivered many of the living entities present before them. Indeed, almost all of them. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore represented in the six-armed form of Shadbhuja Murti, which is a combination of Lord Ramachandra, Lord Krishna, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The best purpose of human life can be fulfilled by worshipping the Shadbhuja Murti, the form of the Lord with six arms. 2 arms of Lord Ramachandra, 2 arms of Krishna, and 2 arms of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now we're going to go to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation, or his commentary. It's very short. Among all the avatars worthy of worship, Rama is the ocean of mercy, the most worthy of worship. This is just saying what Hanuman is saying. In worshipping him, all persons are qualified without distinction. Everyone should worship Rama by all methods. Sarvatmana. And then the final sentence. Rama took all the inhabitants of Ayodhya, Uttaran Koshalan, in those very bodies to Vaikuntha. Now that doesn't seem to be written directly in the text, but that's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes. And in Priti Sandarbha, this is the end of Jiva Goswami's reference to the special quality of Lord Ramachandra, because Priti Sandarbha is focusing on the prayojana, or the effect of love. And Ram is bestowing that effect on others. So here's Jiva Goswami's writing from Priti Sandarbha. Previously, it was shown that one worships the highest Swarup of the Lord in human form by bhakti with knowledge of the Lord's Swarup. Now, one should worship the Lord in human form by bhakti with knowledge of the Lord's sweetness. But other human forms, like Kapila, are rejected. This is Hanuman. He has exclusive devotion. Thus, Rama alone is specifically mentioned. He has unsurpassed qualities, uttamam. He is satisfied with even a little bhakti. Sukrita gyam. Now, it's said elsewhere that certainly there are Vaishnavas that have appreciation for various forms. Certainly Shukadev Goswami is one of them, has appreciation for various forms and eulogizes various forms of the Lord in various ways with great joy. Hanuman doesn't do that. Ram, exclusively. Not like, it's just devotion. His love, his bhakti is exclusive. Now, for us, Rupa Goswami also teaches love is exclusive, and love directed toward Krishna is all-inclusive because he's the source of everything. Kind of like double talk. Exclusive love is all-inclusive. But if one understands what is the source of everything, then it's not just sweetness, it's everything. And then the love of the Brijbasis. They don't know Krishna is the source of everything, but their love is so strong. They don't know anything else. So I'm going to ask you to switch this off. These early morning classes are a little difficult for me. I'm going to have to run upstairs.
Who is it? Pausing for a minute is.
I think I'll just add one thing. There was some question yesterday about in Haridam, Ayodhya Dham is the topmost. I didn't do the research. If the person who brought up that question did the research, Stira, I think, was the person, you can send to our little question-answer method, what's the scriptural reference? We can recite it. But beside from the scriptural reference, here's the understanding, just to repeat. From Brahma Samhita, there is we know there's a hierarchy. Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, Hari Dham, and Goloka Dham. And we the other evening, we saw that little animated video of the Vedic planetarium, the cosmic structure. And in that cosmic structure, we saw the structure of this universe. And then, if you remember, above this universe, there's multiple abodes of Lord Shiva. But Shivaloka is one of those abodes, and Shivaloka is beyond this universe. So there's, without going into detail, there's multiple residences of Lord Shiva because he has multiple functions and multiple manifestations without all that detail. But Shiva, so that's Mahesh Dham, is Shivaloka. That's beyond Devi Dham, beyond the universe. Now, there is a residence of Lord Shiva within the universe. There's multiple within this universe. And then there's Shivaloka, that's Mahesh Dham. And then above that is Hari Dham, the abode of Hari, Narayana. And at the topmost region, it's shown in that diagram, he doesn't mention it, but these charts, if you look at these posters showing the structure, it's basically from, well, one of the main references is Brahma Samhita. There's others in the margins, but so Ayodhya is at the topmost region of Haridham. And special, we're hearing from Jiva Goswami in particular, special amongst Haridham is Ayodhya Dham because of its sweetness. And that, what is that sweetness? We've been hearing, what is that sweetness? Madhurya. There's sweetness in the intimacy of dealings that we don't find in Vaikuntha. There's love. The love of the residents of Vaikuntha is pure. It's not less than pure. It's pure. It's pure. It's perfect. And the sweetness aspect of Ram is pure plus sweetness. And then, Priti Sandarbha isn't done just speaking about Ram. There's sweetness, even more so ultimately in Vrindavan. So an increased sweetness in Dwarka, then more in Mathura and more in Vrindavan, most in Vrindavan, utmost sweetness. And then amongst the rasas, the utmost sweetness is Madhurya Rasa. So this is the Bhagavatam's teaching, because that's what the Sandarbhas are. It's an exposition on the teachings of Bhagavatam in 6 groups. And Priti Sandarbha is the final group. So it's teaching love in its perfect, more perfect, most perfect form. So back to the message on Ramachandra. This is Ram Nomi, and we're focusing in honor of Lord Ramachandra's appearance on his appearance, and with his appearance then also his pastimes and his qualities and his nature. So prominent is his sweetness, manifested in these ways that we've been describing, or that Hanuman has been describing, and we're hearing about. It's a very sweet form. And supposing you're not qualified, there was some discussion last couple of days about, I'm not qualified. Take shelter of the personality of Godhead, Ram, and, of course, Krishna, because they overlook and they'll lift up. Now there's some dedication. Shurpanaka didn't become intimately associated with Bhagavan without some effort from her side. So she's pretty extreme effort, but so we make some effort, but the merciful and super sweet Lord Ramachandra reciprocates. The Bhagavan and his features reciprocate. And as we're hearing in the purport, because Prabhupada is making this emphasis, even more so is Lord Chaitanya. Because Ram delivered asuras, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave prema to asuras. There's many nice examples, but very hard-hearted people he delivered to the stage of prema in different ways, but that's his magnanimity. I mean, a classic example is Jai and Vijay. When they were cursed, they became 3 demons. But when killed by Krishna, they achieved the spiritual world. But they had to be killed by Krishna. And then their counterparts at least, appeared as Jagai and Madhai, and Lord Chaitanya didn't kill them. He just delivered them through Leela. And they did a horrible thing. And he was ready to hit Lord Nityananda in the head with a clay pot, causing blood. Lord Chaitanya was ready to finish them. But so the combination of Lord Nityananda, it's a fascinating topic, but the combination of Lord Nityananda's giving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy to them, Lord Chaitanya gave credit to their deliverance to Lord Nityananda, and Lord Nityananda gave credit for their deliverance to Lord Chaitanya. They had the disagreement. Who delivered them? Whose mercy delivered them? But he delivered Jagai Madhai. They became in their same body that was filled with sinful activity up to the sky. They became perfected beings with prema. So Lord Chaitanya is amongst those who are sweet, he's the sweetest. Amongst those that are merciful, he's the most merciful. Even on Ram Navami, we can say those things. Okay, so any discussion?
Sarah Mataji just sent a comment that she received Padma Purana reference from Gaur Sundar Prabhu from the verse number that says the position of Ayodhya is the topmost in the Adi Vaikuntha realm. So just
Okay.
comment.
And it's a Padma Purana reference saying that Ayodhya is topmost.
She gave the verse numbers.
Okay, and you can send it to me later.
Sure.
Good. Thank you, Stira. There's probably additional references, but that, one is sufficient.
This was a question from Mohanila Prabhu. In the context of piety versus devotion, in our
In the
sadhana,
context of
piety
piety
versus devotion,
versus devotion,
in our sadhana, how do we consciously identify if we are doing our practice in mode of piety or on the platform of bhakti?
well, who's the enjoyer? That's how you determine. Persons that are doing things out of piety, the pleasure of Krishna isn't at the center. I'm doing this because it's to be done. Or I'm doing this because it will earn me pious merit and then I can enjoy. So, but the focus of who's the enjoyer isn't as strong. There may be some mix, but that's how to determine.
And how to move from there?
How to move. Focus on who's the enjoyer. And by our hearing and chanting method. You have something?
On just press once.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So related question.
Unrelated?
Related.
Related to this, okay.
So how do we know that Krishna is getting pleased by our, whatever?
Guru Sadhu Shastra. How do we know anything? You make reference, you hold up your activity and your experience to that light. And if it shines through, the light shines through, it's transparent, that's your check. Give a little example. This is, during Prabhupada's time. There were some of his followers had previously been involved in rock music. So they took the idea of dovetailing, that they would just do rock music, not like use musical instruments, but do rock music and offer it to Krishna. So Prabhupada was asked, is that okay? Now, there are devotees that use those types of musical instruments, electric guitar and this and that, saxophone and this and that, for service to Krishna. And it can even have, something like those sounds, but it's not like the same as those sounds. So, there's an example. What do we eat on Ekadasi? Well, and then, we offer everything to Krishna. Krishna doesn't fast on Ekadasi. It's Krishna Prasadam, so we take Krishna Prasadam. Because Scripture says, you honor Prasadam, and, and then when it's offered, provided to you. So there's that statement. Now, what about other statements about it? Ekadasi, we offer everything to Krishna, and we fast from. So that's how you know Guru Sadhu Shastra. Do you have some further on this? You have some specific question in mind or example? No?
No, that is okay. But I have another question, which like in day-to-day lives as householders, we do so many things.
You had so many.
and sometimes we know that is not actually particularly to please Krishna, or sometimes it's just
You move towards that principle. So this is, I'm here, the goal is there, and I'm not there yet. I'm here. And I'm living day-to-day life and household life, and there's lots of things going on, and it's not always there. Let me move towards there. And one of the best ways to move towards there is hearing and chanting. So let me invest faith and energy and time in that activity, knowing that it will purify. Now, it's not like, hey, I just carry on doing my day-to-day and, dull consciousness. So there must be, it's not a mechanical, automatic, rather that's the process, and we have to invest conscious choices in that sojourn. But we do the ones that we can do and continue to do new ones, continue to maintain the. So it's not mechanical. That was the point. There's consciousness involved in ongoing ways. Not only in household life and, life. Brahmacharis have to do the same thing. Okay? So it's acknowledging with self-honesty, this is where I am. There's taking the time to hear from Guru Sadhu Shastra, recognizing that's my goal, and I'm here. Let me take the hearing and chanting process and all the while continue to invest consciousness in the choices that I make, at least, ones that are doable for me. And know with faith that it's going to carry me to a higher consciousness, and I'll have more strength, more clarity, more purity, more everything to continue on this journey. Accepting and progress. Okay.
Here is a question from Radhaduti Mataji. We have heard that how at the time of Vibhishana's arrival, so many Vanaras had strong opinions regarding not accepting Vibhishana's surrender.
Right.
But then, as soon as Lord Rama spoke his desire and gave reasons, all of them simply accepted his will.
Yep.
Similarly, Lord Rama also put aside his value of not raising hand on a woman when Vishwamitra asked him to kill Tataka.
Yeah.
Can you please say something about this particular quality?
This which quality? What was the adjective? P? Which quality? Perplexing quality?
His value is put aside his values, his own values. To follow Vishwamitra raising hand on the.
He's showing the character of the word of his father is everything to him. And it's on the strength of what his father said that he did what Vishwamitra said, because his father said, do whatever Vishwamitra says. Now, Vishwamitra gave reasons and historical references, says it has happened in times past, and cited some examples and gave the principle. It's something like Krishna speaking to Arjuna, don't worry about killing Ashvatthama because he's a Brahmana. You're not incurring the sin of killing a Brahmana because his birth is Brahmana, but his behavior is despicable and to be punished by death penalty according to laws of mankind. So do it. And Vishwamitra similarly said, although she's a woman, in normal circumstances you don't kill a woman, but in this circumstance you must. So, in addition to Guru Sadhu Shastra, it's at least in Valmiki Ramayana, the overriding principle was his father said. That's it. So he was showing that character. Now, Vishwamitra Muni wasn't his guru, but Vishwamitra Muni was Brahmarshi, topmost Brahmana. And the Brahmarshi said, so he's not going to deviate from what the Brahmarshi said. So he was exhibiting a certain feature of teaching by example in that situation, and deferring, not exhibiting his own divinity in that situation. Okay? That's it. You have something.
Guru Maharaj, this is just to understand a curiosity question regarding Shabari's pastime. Is there any significance that Shabari met Lord Ramachandra in the absence of Mother Sita? It didn't happen when Mother Sita was.
The commentators might say, but it didn't. It seemed more circumstantial than principal. She was an agent to assist in two ways. There's where Sugriva is, because if you're wandering around in the forest, where's Sugriva? I mean, they had on the eastern shore of Lake Pampa, there's Rishimukh Mountain, and he's up there. But so she was assisting. But the purpose was to regain Sita. And in terms of the Leela, Ram says after Shabari ascended to the spiritual world, he says to Lakshmana, we have now become purified by associating with such a saintly personality as Shabari. I'm feeling very inspired that good fortune will soon come. So it's in relation to finding Sita. So I don't think there's any specific, purposeful, principle-based reason why it was without Sita, but it was circumstantial and part of his Leela. More?
Yes, good man. So this is from Aishwarya Mataji from Singapore. Hare Krishna Maharaj, is it okay to meditate on different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or is there a point where this becomes disloyal to our Sampradaya in any way?
It doesn't become disloyal to our Sampradaya in any way. Especially, should be noted from our Sampradaya, that Krishna is the avatari. That's the Bhagavatam. Our Sampradaya is from Lord Chaitanya. Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we recognize that Krishna is the avatari. Madhva accepted Krishna in one sense like that also. The Krishna, Udupi Krishna. Out of that mass, Krishna is at the center, and so forth. The principal Ishtadev of Madhva. But surrounding, there's 8 other mass with other forms of the personality of Godhead, or Vishnu Tattva forms. And within ISKCON, there are devotees that have a particular disposition toward Lord Nrsingadev or Lord Ram, or I know one family, it's Lord Varaha, but there's a particular attraction of devotion. Let's go to Gaura Leela. One of his intimate associates in childhood was Murari Gupta, who was a Ram Bhakta. And Lord Chaitanya accepted him because Lord Chaitanya is the avatari just as Krishna is, and he respected. He tested and he respected the undeviating determination of devotion that Murari Gupta had for Ram. So it's not The answer to the question is no. It's not a deviation from the mood of our sampradaya.
And this question is from Krishna Mohini Mataji from Singapore. If you so desire, please let me know how I can be sure that the things I do in our day-to-day life, like chanting, hearing, and other things, are pleasing to Krishna or not.
The same question, same answer. How much is this with the meditation that it's meant for Krishna's pleasure? And then most likely there's a mix, and it's, for my pleasure and Krishna's pleasure. So that's, the Shuddha Bhakti is that there's only one thought, Krishna's pleasure. Okay?
And Amara Mataji asks, today on this special occasion, what do we do to specially please Lord Ramchandra and Sita Devi and their devotees?
Manmana mama bad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. That's what you do. You can make some nice offerings. You can chant extra rounds. You can hear about him as much as possible. Chant about him as much as possible, etc. You manmana bhava mad bhakto. That's what you do.
And this is from Kasturi Manjari Mataji. In case of Surpanaka, doing austerities to have Lord Rama as her husband, that was for her own enjoyment.
Yes, it was.
Then how was it bhakti?
And how was it what?
How was it bhakti?
Because he was the object. It's like, Dhruva wanting to worship Vishnu because he wanted something. So Shurpanaka wanted something. That was her starting point. Doesn't give the detail, but one can imagine, like Dhruva, purification came, as happened with Dhruva. As he got closer and closer and closer to being connected with Vishnu, those other desires fell away.
Radhuti's Mataji's follow-up question. Follow-up for the giving of the values by Lord Ramchandra. My question was more on the lines of how such personalities gave up their own strongly held opinions to follow what their beloved Lord or Father
Submission.
said.
Surrender. Ramayana is a treatise on surrender. So Ram was showing by example, surrender. We encounter those things, don't we? I've got my idea. Somebody over there has their idea. And Guru and Krishna have their idea. So we just, put our idea over there. Now, it's okay to question, like Arjuna questioned. That's okay. But then submission. So he's teaching that principle by his example. That's what we can do from that example, from what we can learn from that example. And be confident. And be protected. Okay, we're done. Shri the Prabhupada ki. Shri Ramachandra Mahamahotsav ki.